Yo, what's popping? So, taking a look at the Dallas Fuel after the midseason madness tournament, which has been disappointing for them relative to the expectations that we have set for them, basically. So, Dallas, they're still third in NA after this tournament. They have 12 points, 9 wins, 3 losses, and a plus 13. Um, so you look at that record and you say, well, that's not a disappointing record. They're third in NA. Yes, but also they didn't look inspirational. So the roster being Doha, Sparkle, Hanbin, Fielder, Fearless, Chio, Edison, and Guriyo. Doha's been missing in action. He's been nowhere to be seen. Right. Doha's removed from this season. I don't know where he is. No one's ever seen him. No clue what's happening there. Sparkle is in every single match, as he should be. Sparkle is kind of the face of this franchise right now. That's to be expected. Hanbin's coming in on Circle Royale. Sure, that's whatever. Fielder and Chio are your only supports. That's fine. I don't have a problem with either Fearless or Chio. I have a problem with that they were on more Lucio a lot, but that's not a problem with them. Fearless has been in on the Winston. He's had some ball gameplay. He's had some Doomfist gameplay in the tournament. I don't have a problem with Fearless either as a player. And then there's Edison and Guriyo, who I think neither of them have really stepped up, and you need one of them to step up on your hit scan to do something. Sparkle stepped up on the Tracer. He did that last season even. No problem there, right? But you need Guriyo or Edison to be that hit scan guy, and neither of them has been. So the question here with this roster is I don't have a problem with any of these players' skill levels, right? Except for Edison Guriyo. The core roster of the core roster that has been here in the last season, and Chio. I have no problem with Chio. I think Chio's been great. I think he was a little worse than he was the previous stage, but the whole team was as well. So I'm not concerned about Chio. I am concerned about Edison and Guriyo. If neither of them step up on hit scan, which they haven't over half of the season, we only have half the season left, and you can't. There needs to be some progress here because Guriyo has maybe gotten a little better from the start, but I would say overall, if he was even to become a solid hit scan player that Dallas could maintain even top 4 in NA with like Atlanta and Shock and Glads, that's way too much progress to reasonably anticipate or even expect from Guriyo. That's just way too much. Like you can't expect him to improve that much based on what we've seen. That's not reasonable. So something needs to change with how this team is being formulated right now. And the whole last stage, it didn't feel like Rush really had a handle on what he wanted on this meta, right, in general. And we'll see how he does with Junker Queen being introduced. Junker Queen is going to have an aspect of this metagame, probably not like super strong, right? Probably, well, I'm maybe, who knows, but probably not one trick comp like we saw in Contenders. That's unreasonable. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think Junker Queen will be an aspect of the meta that needs to be considered, and we'll see how the Dallas Fuel do there. I'd love to see maybe you move away from Edison and Guriyo, try and play them as little as you need to. Bring Doha back. I miss Doha. He was great. I don't know where Doha is. You don't need to run Edison or Guriyo. Just run Doha. You did last season, and you did phenomenal. Right? You had a great season, successful season, I would say. And even right now, this season isn't unsuccessful. It's just not improving on the previous one, which is unsuccessful for this franchise, for this team right now. I don't think last stage was successful, even though you win 4 matches and you lose 2. But looking at the actual tournament itself, right? Winners round 2, they get the bye. Mostly because they're carried from their last stage, but also because they still went 4-2. You lose 3-0 to Shanghai immediately. It's just not really. It wasn't horrible, if I'm remembering correctly. No, I take it back. It was horrible. It wasn't, well, from the scoreline and from what I remember from the game. It wasn't the end of the world, but it was not good, right? It wasn't good. It wasn't like, oh, you literally did nothing, but you didn't look good. You didn't look like the Dallas Fuel, and then you go to the lower bracket and you lose to Philly 3-1. The Defiant one took more maps than Dallas in this tournament. Did Dallas win the least maps in this entire tournament? They did. They only won 1 map. No other team only won 1 map. The next lowest was Seoul with 2 maps, which is funny. But Dallas only won a map. That's not enough. It just didn't look good. And they were this is kind of what I expected from them going into this tournament. I didn't expect a whole lot from Dallas just by the way they're playing. The 4-2 wins, and they're kind of Mickey Mouse in a way because they play Shock in Atlanta in the first week and they lose both of them. Then you play Florida, you beat them 3-0, you beat Vancouver 3-0, New York 3-2, and Dallas 3-1. You can, if you're interested in more of this, I did do a preview of them going into the tournament. I'll link that like above in the little card thing. But that's kind of a Mickey Mouse schedule, right? Florida wasn't playing well. Vancouver is Vancouver. New York, who you took to 5 maps to manage to beat. And then the win over London is good. That's a good win over London. And that was their only saving grace going into this tournament was like, oh, they can beat London. But London also fell at the same point at them. So, you know what I mean? We'll see. This team cannot be operated the same way it was last stage, but we'll see. So looking at their next stage, they play the Gladiators in New York on the 15th, Defiant and Boston on the 16th, and then Florida on the 17th week and Shock on the 18th week. This is not the day, that's the week, right? So right off the rip, you're playing the Gladiators. You're going to lose against the Gladiators. I highly doubt that Dallas will beat the LA Gladiators in the first week. I don't see it. New York, you should beat New York, though. That should be a win. I don't expect New York to be good. They are a team that is in shambles. Not sure what's going on with them. Kuki got dropped. Who cares? It's Kuki. He has not performed well in Owl. Should be a win there. Defiant, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that could be a close match. We'll see what both these teams look like after the first week, right? But as it is right now, I think both these teams should play each other pretty close if they keep maintaining how they were in the previous stage. Same with Boston. And I think Florida did look better than Dallas in the tournament, so we'll see what happens there. But Florida was a little over-aggressive with their compositional changes last stage. We'll see if that continues with a new tank in the mix. We'll see if someone just wants to play Junker Queen sometimes. And it should be a loss against Shock, right, realistically, based on what they've been doing right now. But the biggest thing for this team is finding that composition that they want to get really good at and making sure it's a good composition. The Winston Moira Lucio was not the composition they needed to get good with. That wasn't it. They didn't even get really good with it. Maybe that's because the composition wasn't good. Maybe. It's not like it was horrible. Like you saw Atlanta play it sometimes. You saw teams play it, but none of them as religiously as Dallas and none of them as consistently as Dallas, right? They picked and choose when they wanted to play the composition. Dallas was like, we're going to play it now. We're going to play it here. We're going to play it here. We're going to play it everywhere. Wasn't great. I hope they get a composition that works. I hope they give Doha some gameplay. If Guriyo's not working after the first 2 weeks, I think it's time to give up on him. I think at that point you have to give up. You have to look for other options, and then you can still win this. You can still make a good run in the final playoff of the season, right? Or you can still make a good run for the rest of the season. But if Guriyo or Edison doesn't work out after these first 2 weeks, right? You give them 4 more games, see if they can make something happen. If it doesn't work, just put in Doha and let the wheels go. Because Doha, you've seen it before. Doha, Sparkle, Fearless, or Hanbin, and Fielder Chio should be a good enough roster to place you high, right? Surely they don't do worse than what you're doing now. I don't think so. But we'll see what happens with Dallas. Let me know your thoughts down below, as always. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe for more daily content. And thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.